Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about SharkByte again. I didn't plan, or I had actually planned, but after I'd kind of done some things, I didn't think that I should take the time to record this. I kind of thought that it might be a waste of your time. I like to just show you stuff so that you can make your own diagnosis of something. In this particular case, a lot of questions have come in about the compatibility with other goggles, and the long and the short of it is, I think if it has an HDMI port, it'll work. I plugged it into the Orcas and it worked really well, and I plugged it into the Sky Zones. Unfortunately, I give so much stuff away. I don't have some of those previous generation of goggles that I've used on the channel that very well may have had an HDMI port. So I didn't test those. I tested a couple of our TVs in the house, a couple of computer monitors that have HDMI, and it just worked. So if you're interested in SharkByte and you're worried that your goggles might not work, if it's got HDMI, it probably will. Matter of fact, Dumb Thumbs FPV over again at Man Cave Hobbies, I know he tested the SharkByte system on his, I think they're 3+ year old headplay goggles. They're kind of large sized foam box goggles, but they were pretty advanced at the time. They have an HDMI port. Work just fine. So if you're interested and you're wondering, yeah, it should work. And the reason why I kind of didn't or was thinking about not recording this was most goggles don't record the HDMI in. Only the Orca goggles record HDMI in, which I think is kind of an interesting bit. Of course, Orca has always pushed itself forward as a goggle company trying to do the next level thing. The HDMI recording might not have a real big draw to it, but the one thing I thought about was when I see people who post flight simulator videos on Facebook and stuff, that if you had HDMI in recording on your goggles, that seems to be an easier way of getting that recording than maybe taxing your computer. Maybe I've just got such an old computer, I'm thinking of offloading some of that responsibility in doing that sort of screen recording. But at any rate, so what I've got to show you is this flight sample between the Orca and the SharkByte. And quick, before we get any of the labels up, which one's SharkByte and which one's Orca DVR footage? So if you're not familiar, SharkByte has its own DVR, so you don't have to do anything there. It's got an SD card that goes right in it, and you can set it to auto record, or you can use the jog wheel to activate recording, and you get a little flashing red light on the top of the SharkByte VRX, and then it tells you it's recording. But in this case, I wanted to see who could guess which one was SharkByte and which one was Orca, because I thought it was fairly interesting and something fun we could do quickly before we run out of time. And, well, there it is. Now on screen you see which was which. How many of you had it right? And what do you think of that? I thought the recording for HDMI input was pretty dang good from the Orca goggles, so another one for the Orca goggles. And just another flight. I've been working on the little SharkByte Whoop that I've got and kind of decreasing its weight a little bit, bit by bit, not going to extremes. Something else I can show you that was really fun is trying to fly through the TV screen in the basement. Now, I have never done this before, so you can see I've got, basically I've got a camera set up on the head of the couch, and then I'm pointing it at the TV. And you can see the cable, the white cable coming down from the TV that's going into the SharkByte system that's just kind of laying there on that cabinet in front. I found it very difficult to fly watching the TV when in my view, whether it was my peripheral or anywhere in my eye line, I could see the quad. I crashed a lot and just repeatedly. And I don't know how many times I tried to actually like hover it in front of the TV, and I could kind of hover it, but once I got away from, or once I tried to move from a hover to flight, I would hit something right away, and I'd barely be moving. I'd just be crawling. So to those of you that can fly looking at a screen that's, not attached to your face like goggles, I applaud you. That's a skill set I just don't seem to have. Once I got it away from myself, I could fly okay. And that was something that I thought, this could be something that I would do to show, during normal times, to show other people flights, rather than have them sit down and stare into one of the screens or a set of goggles that they could sit down on the couch. Especially the younger kids, they like to kind of huddle close together, and then they could just watch the flight on the TV screen. And I thought that might be fairly interesting. So which one looked better? Out of the goggles that I tried, I kind of thought the Orcas looked the best. Not kind of. when I put them on, I thought this looked better. That's just the way it is. It could be the size of the screen, because the Orca screen size appears much bigger, so that could be a bias I have. I like the screen size in there very much. I wish there were some, 1 degree adjustments in there. They have the race screen. I think it's 33 degrees field of view or something like that. Anywho, the screens appear bigger in the Orcas, and I thought it looked better. The HDO2s, it looks great. The Sky Zones, I thought it looked really good as well. I think depending upon your panel that's inside, there's going to be different levels of payoff as to the SharkByte and how things look. If you've got an older generation of panel, I think you'll see an improvement regardless of what the panel is. It's just how much improvement will you see, say, versus analog. So I think if you have an OLED panel or better, you see what most of us who've been using SharkByte have been talking about. If you have a panel that's not OLED and possibly older, you might not quite you might not have that feeling, that difference right away in the goggles, but I do believe that there'll still be a discernible difference. I did not adjust the colors, the saturation, the brightness on any of them, and I thought they all looked natural to me. Of course, all my flying during this testing and during the last 10 days really has all been inside. Our weather outside has been terrible. So I didn't change anything on the goggles to make them look right or to make it feel right to me. I just plugged in the SharkByte system and used them. So I got to have some fun doing testing, even though I kind of hedged on whether or not I would record and put this video out. I'll put it together. Hopefully it turns out to be something that's useful for you. I don't like the thought or the idea that I might be wasting someone's time. If you do have any additional questions, comments, or suggestions about this or anything else you've seen on the channel, please let me know in the section down below. I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.